Alright, what up world? Today we are picking up trash at the Wack Playground. Just a quick overview of the park. We've got a couple of basketball courts here that seem to have been here for a while. We've got this brand spanking new basketball court, which looks really nice. That logo in the middle, that's the Parks Department logo for New York City. This is a half-court basketball court. And we also have some racquetball courts here in case you want to practice up on your tennis. Overall, lots of opportunities in this park to come out with your friends or family and practice up on some sports. This park is located in sunny Harlem over on the east side. And because of its location, cleanliness, and amenities, I'm going to have to give it a stellar 6 out of 10. Maybe a little bit lower on that. You're going to see as we go through, it does have quite a bit of trash. This is a very frequented part of town, very frequented part of the city. And because of that, I think that it has an opportunity for lots of people to come in, and unfortunately that means lots of people have opportunities to litter it as well. Whether or not it be intentional or it just be blow off from the busy streets, this park is also located pretty close to an on and off ramp for a busy bridge that connects Harlem to and from the Bronx, South Bronx. But nevertheless, we'll give it the thumbs up and we'll start picking up trash here. Now guys, this is a brand spanking new series, so I'm still figuring out how to do everything. I'm doing the voiceovers for myself. I'm learning out how to run these GoPros and all the ins and outs of that. So it's kind of a developing process. This is New Leaves Urban Reform. We focus on picking up trash in local neighborhoods, local parks, local wilderness areas. If you have a suggestion for a place in New York City that you would like to see someone come in and pick up trash, just let me know down in the comments. I would totally love to come over there and help out. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and open up one of these plastic bags here and get to work, starting with this flower bed here. Now mind you that this was filmed kind of at the beginning of February 2024, so otherwise known as the end of winter. So obviously there's a lot of leaf debris on the ground. There's not going to be too many flowers coming through quite yet. It's still too cold outside for any of that sort of stuff to happen. So we're going to go ahead and just take the liberty and assume that I'm allowed to jump into this flower bed and pick up trash. I've got things, like tissue paper, small pieces of plastic going here. And some of it can be buried underneath the leaves, but, do my very best to check through and to accurately pick up what I'm able to. I'm gonna sneak that one underneath from the fence there. Get stuff out of the fence. Nevertheless, we'll get it through the fence and into the bag there. A lot of times, you'll find a good majority of debris and litter built up on fence. The wind kind of seems to blow it over there. So once again, just trying to kind of figure out what's going on with the GoPro here. We've got the makeshift director's cut board right there using my hand. I'm going to dive right back into that same flower bed, kind of get some pieces of trash that I had missed on the entrance. As we focused more on the fence line, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, the center of this flower bed here. Like I had said before, there is quite a bit of trash. I don't know if that's because this is a super popular park, or if because Parks Department just hasn't been able to get staffing over here in quite some time. It could also very well be that this park doesn't get maintained throughout the winter period, which I believe would be unfortunate, but we have to give Parks Department of New York City, the benefit of the doubt that they are doing their absolute very best in maintaining. By no means is this an effort to say, that they're slacking off or not doing their jobs. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm more than happy to help out in any shape and form that I can with projects such as picking up trash or just in kind of beautifying outdoor areas. I guess the number one reason that I do that is because, parks and wilderness areas, they mean quite a bit to me. Growing up, these were kind of like safe havens for me. Those are places that I could go to unwind, to relax, and just kind of get away from all the hectic chaos that is, school life or life at home. And so that's what brings me happiness, is that I know that I'm able to provide a clean area for other people to enjoy who might be in a similar situation that I was when I was growing up. So right now it looks like I'm kind of in the middle of trying to decide where my next target is going to be, whether or not we're going to stay inside the park itself, pick up a little bit of stuff underneath this one tree here. Now that area is just a lawn, that's not a flower bed at all, it's just covered in a bunch of leaves. But the good majority, a vast majority of the trash is located in these wood chip beds right out in front of the park. And again, this is kind of a busy road, so I'm assuming that it falls out of people's vehicles, or as people walking past on the sidewalk that don't enter into the park. They drop it along the way. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's also a bus stop here, or at least pretty close by, within like half a block. So no doubt those types of locations are going to contribute. You're going to see me kind of pick up smaller things here. There's going to be a lot more cigarette butts in these wood chip beds here than there are in the actual park itself. Small pieces of paper, little plastic wrappers. Whenever it is, it all goes into the bag there. We're doing our very best to get every single piece of trash. I like to have the motto, no litter left behind, is what I like to say. No matter how small it is, no matter how tiny it is, it's still very crucial that it gets picked up and then put into the proper location. Or at least it's important to me, I should say. So again, you're going to see a lot more cigarette butts here as you're on the sidewalk. Now, anyone who's watching this who is a smoker, just give you, I don't want to be like the principal or your dad or anything, but I am going to remind you that the best place to put your cigarette butts is, in fact, in the trash. If you were to ask my personal opinion, I do not believe that they belong on the ground. I'm sure that there's many out there who would agree with me. Small pieces of paper. Oftentimes, small pieces of paper become ripped up. Get some tissue paper in there. God knows where that came from. That's why we use the grabber, though, right? Another cigarette butt. Looks like a straw wrapper there. And you're going to notice that as I'm picking up some of this trash, I'm going to take wood chips and leaves with me. It's just inevitable, guys. There's nothing I can really do. Oh, we got a little fail right there. But revenge has been taken. We'll get that piece of trash into the bag nonetheless. More ciggy butts. Another ciggy butt. Yeah, they're kind of all over the place here. Like I said, we're going to do our very best to kind of go through the leaves and get, if I notice any small pieces of trash poking out, I'm going to go and investigate and see if it's something I can't remove there. Another small piece of paper, it looks like. Get those pieces of trash into the bag. That's what's important. Regardless of what it is, it needs to go into the garbage. Oh, we got a couple fails right there. But all definitely a success. Of course, I'll never give up on a piece of trash and make sure that it gets into its new home, into my plastic bag there. There we go. We got that big napkin picked up. That's what I like to see. A little bit of a fail on this. Another struggling, and success. Another small piece of paper. Oh, it bites the dust. It can be kind of a little bit difficult to tell sometimes what is a leaf and what belongs on the ground, and what is a piece of trash, what is a small piece of paper that can go into the bag here. Of course, we want to leave leaves be. Not only do they provide wonderful compost, wonderful nutrients for plants that we would put into these areas coming up, but they also provide a little shelter and a little home for insects to act as sort of like a nursery. Insects will lay their eggs in there. Of course, that's the crucible, if you will, for the food chain. Insects, they sort of kick off. Right here, it looks like we found a Queen of Hearts, a little playing card. And you know what? I think that's actually kind of cool. So we're going to go ahead and pocket that. It doesn't have a back, but I still think it's alright. We're going to pocket that as a piece of treasure. Sometimes you find trash, sometimes you find treasure when you're doing this. I don't really get paid professionally for this yet, and I sort of get paid in compliments and cool things that I find in the park. And that's alright with me. I'm not really doing this for any sort of reward, really. The main reason that I am doing this is because, again, parks and wilderness areas are very important to me. And more than that, this is what makes me happy. I want to see parks and wilderness areas be clean, safe, and available for anyone that wants to go into them. I think that is a very incredibly important thing to be able to provide to people. I think that if it makes me happy, it has the potential to definitely make someone else happy. And so right now, that's enough for me. Of course, I want these videos to go well, but that's because I want to spread the message more than anything. I want the success of these videos to be in educating people that, areas like this park, like Wack Playground, have positive benefits that they can provide to the communities that they inhabit. To do that, we need to be able to reach broad audiences. So if that happens, when that happens, that will be in itself the reward. And that's the reward that I'm truly striving for, is for people to be inspired to keep these sort of areas clean. So we found ourselves quite a few cigarette butts here. You see one, you see a dozen. Usually there's not just one. And again, I think that's contributed to the bus stop. That's, I think, right behind me, if I'm not mistaken. People are waiting there, and of course that's a good opportunity while you're waiting. If you've got 10 minutes to wait, why not light up a cigarette if you are a cigarette smoker? Now, I myself do not smoke cigarettes. I do not condone or advocate smoking them. If you were to ask me what my advice on the situation is it would be to avoid doing that. But, I'm also a firm believer in freedom of choice. If, that is what you want to do, then by all means go for it. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with it by any means, though. So, in fact, quite the opposite. What I can can do is the opposite of the behavior of smoking cigarettes and leaving the cigarette butts on the ground. Is I don't smoke, and I go around and I pick up the cigarette butts. That's what I do. That's how I get my revenge on smokers, I guess you could say. So we're moving through these wood chips pretty quick here. There's a lot of small pieces of trash, which can be frustrating, but nevertheless, we're going to stay focused. We're going to try to get as much, if not all of it, picked up and into my trash bag so that it can be properly disposed of. Now, I do believe that it would be to the benefit of New York City to have a lot more trash cans everywhere. That, of course, would come with having to employ more individuals to deal with maintenance those trash cans. But considering, that there's close to or over 10 million people in the city, and we keep encouraging more and more people to come and visit every single year, you sort of have to adopt that Disneyland mentality where you have a trash can every single 20 feet so that people, they have not only a place to put the trash, but they have a constant visual reminder that there is a place for their trash to go other than onto the ground. Something about this area in particular is that it's also close to the East River, which I think goes without stating is very heavily polluted at the moment, and every single little piece of trash that we pick up means one less potential piece of trash that goes into that. And of course, when the tidal pole is right, that trash will go straight out into the Atlantic Ocean, which we like to avoid. I'm going to pick up that large piece of toilet paper there. Maybe that was stuck to the bottom of someone's shoe and they didn't even know. And pick up a few more cigarette butts. Try to get these wood chips here. Now, I think it would be really beneficial to plant maybe a nice shrub garden, maybe a nice wildflower bed. I don't know exactly how much sun this area gets. I assume that it's at least partially sunny because of the tall buildings that surround it. Yeah, I would assume that it doesn't get full sun, but you could definitely try to figure out something to put in. This is kind of just a big, large chunk of wood chips. You've got a little bit of a fail there trying to pick up the top of that plastic cup there. Perhaps a little Starbucks or McDonald's cup lid. And then go right back into the wood chips trying to pick up small pieces of plastic, small pieces of trash here. Another cigarette butt. Pick it up. Good job. Got it on the first try. And another cigarette butt there. Every single time that it rains, these cigarette butts, they float. Right? So the rain is able to push them off pretty quickly, pretty easily. Then, of course, once it pushes them off, it has the opportunity to go straight into a sewer drain, which inevitably will find its way to the river, which again leads straight to the ocean. We don't want that. We don't want any of that. So we're going to get all of these cigarette butts, every single one of them, picked up, put into a bag. Now, of course, cigarette butts aren't the only ones that do that. We have small pieces of styrofoam. Paper normally gets soaked and then sticks where it's at, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible for it to end up in the sewers. Basically, the motto of the story here, the lesson to be learned, is that trash, every time you put it on the ground, has an opportunity to go to a place where we don't want it to go, or where, better put, that I don't want it to go, that I don't think it should be going. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people would agree with me that that's not where trash belongs. Trash belongs in a proper, whether it be a landfill or otherwise waste management appropriated location. It would be really cool if we could find a way to compost or recycle 100% of New York City's trash. I believe quite strongly that we have the if there is a will, there's a way, right? So if we desire that to happen, then we can make it happen. Now we're gonna get behind these bushes here. It's another place where trash likes to get hung up, is underneath bushes. And then of course, when Parks Department would go through these areas, they're going to be kind of trying to do it quickly. More likely than not, this would not be the only account, let's call it the only location that a Parks Department staff or employee would have to maintain to clean up for the day. So they're going to be going through, well, responsibly, but in a quick manner. And they're going to be looking for large pieces of trash so that they can pick up and kind of get the most bang for your buck type of deal, is what they're looking for. Getting the large pieces out. And unfortunately, they don't always have all the time in the world to be able to service the entire area, to service every single small little piece of trash like I'm trying to my very best to do here. I have all the time in the world this afternoon, well, at least until the sun goes down. And of course, being at the beginning of February happens pretty quickly. But at the same time, I've got plenty of time, and I'm not leaving until I'm satisfied that this place is cleaned up. I'm getting into the corner here. This is behind those racquetball courts that I mentioned earlier. And of course, if we're going to have people playing in there, and if we're going to have kids playing in there, I think it's important for it to be clean, so that they can properly enjoy it, and they don't have to look around and see the negative of an ugly pile of trash hanging around their park. Of course, there's a bunch of leaves. I don't know if that's going to get raked out. Again, it might not be serviced in the winter. I know that in the fall, raking leaves in these sort of parks, it can kind of be like pulling teeth, because you'll rake it one day and then you'll come back the next week and there'll be just the same amount of leaves there. If the leaves are falling, as they do in fall, that's going to happen. You're just going to continuously be raking the same bed over and over until the leaves are completely gone from the tree. And again, considering that, Parks Department has to pay employees every single time they come out to service this park, it might just be easier for them to wait until the spring and to rake all those leaves up at once. Of course, that's just me guessing. I don't really know exactly how New York's Parks Department handles this. I guess I have a little bit of a guess. I've worked alongside Parks Department in a few programs in a few places, but my educated guess is that that's what their intention is here. And then another thing that's quite possible is that they take the leaf blowers and they push it up against the fence there too, which creates those piles of leaves that run around the entirety of the fence line. We're picking up a few more small pieces of trash here and there. Little pieces of litter around here. We have not seen any rats yet, which is a good thing in New York. You might notice here and there a couple, especially in these bushes here, rat holes. If you see holes in the ground, more often than not, that's going to be a place where a rat is living. Of course, that is a big issue for some New Yorkers. They really detest the rats. There are plenty of them. Let me tell you, there is quite a few of them. So that thing that I just dropped on the ground right there, that's actually a feather. That was not a piece of trash. I personally believe that feathers are a part of nature, and of course, because of that, they're more than welcome to stay in the parks. I think that if I was, being a park goer, and I saw a cool feather, a neat feather, that would be something fun for me to look up. I personally don't want to take it with me though. I've already got my card and my piece of treasure for the day, so the Queen of Hearts from earlier. So we're gonna leave that feather be, and we're gonna go back to picking up small pieces of trash here. Just kind of moving through. I'm not sure what these bushes are. I don't know if they were meant to be there or if these are weeds that kind of decided to take over this pile of wood chips. This wood chip a lot. It certainly looks like they're put there on purpose and just kind of left to grow on their own. But again, without knowing the actual identification, without knowing the actual name of the plant, it's hard for me to make that call, to distinguish if that's supposed to be there or not. I can tell you that it's looking green, and there's obviously plenty of it, so they are thriving. Some of them look like they might be bardock, which if it is bardock, that's a weed in this location that's not supposed to be there. Bardock or curly dock. We've got some pieces of trash hanging out underneath the leaves of those unnamed plants. Plants of suspicion. Plants of unknown origin. But that's alright. They can try to run, they can try to hide. But nevertheless, me and my grabber and my bag, we're gonna get them cleaned up and out of this park. Really starting to make a lot of progress here on this one particular bed, which is relieving because holy smokes was there a lot of small pieces of trash. A lot of cigarette butts, lots of small pieces of paper, and now we're going to move to the sidewalk. Pick up a little bit of a failure on there. That'll happen. I've got to find a way to make a crease so that I have something to hold on to with my grabber. Oh, another fail. That's okay. I'm not going to give up that easy. And success. What a wonderful way to end that. We're going to move over here. Just kind of I don't want to go too far into the road, just for my own safety. But as I mentioned before, a lot of this trash may very well be coming from this roadway. So if I leave it there on the curb, there's a good chance that it'll just get into the park. And what do we have here? What's this little guy? This looks like it is a bottle of Henny. Now, this is a good thing to find in Harlem, I guess. It's not uncommon to see people drinking Hennessy. But nevertheless, we don't want it on the sidewalk there. We don't want it in the park itself. We want it, once you're done drinking your Henny, we want to get that picked up and put away. Everyone likes a good party every once in a while, I suppose, but that doesn't mean that we can't be responsible when we're done and get those. We've got quite a bit of failure here going on with this small little yellow piece of plastic. It looks like, thank goodness, I'm able to get that one in there. And this, it looked like that plant did not want to give up its piece of trash, but that's too bad because I'm gonna get it anyways. And this is a pop top. I'm gonna have a couple more failures here and a success. I'm never gonna give up. And we're gonna go down and get... Oh, look at that! You remember how I was saying earlier I don't really get paid for any of this? Find a lucky penny. And what's this? Another lucky penny. My goodness. Flip it around, see what you get. Heads or tails. That's 2 cents in the bag. And what is this? Another penny. I spoke too soon. That's 3 cents. 3 cents that I have been paid to pick up parks in New York City so far. Let's go. And what is this? Another one. 4 cents. I'm on a roll right now. And flip it around, and it's another heads. Which is awesome. I'm totally stoked about that. Again, I kind of just get paid with things I find in the park, and usually it's not money. Even though it's only 4 cents, I'll take it. I'm definitely razzed and jazzed about that. That's awesome. Which makes me wonder, what would I do if I ever found a large sum of money? I don't know if I would be able to keep it. It would depend on how large are we talking about. If it's a $20 bill, I might keep the $20 bill. But if it's $20,000, I might have to call the police. I don't know if in good conscience I could keep that without trying to investigate who its original owner was, without trying to get it back to the person it belongs to. Okay, so we're gonna move on from that one wood chip bed that's in front of the park, and we're gonna go to the other side of the entrance and start picking that one up. Moving along down this sidewalk. Again, it's kind of a busy part of town. It's a busy roadway. It's not... I don't know if it would be necessarily... Well, we still got a little bit of soda left in there. Who just throws out half a can of Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola is currently my favorite soda. But... I think that's a shame. You should have finished that, buddy. In my opinion, I think you should have finished that. We'll get that going. I kind of lost my train of thought there of what I was saying before, but that's alright. We're just going to get back into picking up trash here. Oh yeah, it was, I don't think that this area is necessarily all that heavily trafficked by people on foot, other than the ones going to that bus stop or potentially to this park, just because this is sort of at the top of East Harlem, right? This is an area where, unless you're going across the bridge to the Bronx, there's not really too much of a reason to come over here, of course, unless you're trying to, you know, play basketball with your friends or hang out in this park. So, we'll get back into picking up trash between these bushes. Now, these shrubs, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're definitely meant to be here. And as you can see, they are just packed in with piles and piles of leaves and with trash as well. And that will happen on bushes, anything that the wind has to blow things up against it often does. And unfortunately, well, fortunately and unfortunately, it's unfortunate that there's trash out there in the first place, but fortunately, that gives it a place for it to stop, right, and to get caught up in, and people like me, they can go straight to those types of things, and they can know with confidence that that's going to be an area where there's more than likely going to be trash to be picked up. Now we're getting, again, small pieces of trash, small pieces of litter that otherwise would be missed by parks workers who kind of have no other choice than to only focus on large pieces and move through these parks rather quickly. And the more the better. The more that I can remove, the better it makes me feel. The better it makes the park look, in my opinion, and also my understanding, the better for the environment that it's going to be. Some more cigarette butts. Perhaps we could start our very own campaign about being anti-cigarette butt, about not having that sort of shenanigans in the park now. I want to avoid being negative, right? But I also I want it to be known that that's not what I expect to see when I come out to a park. I don't expect to see people making a mess of the place with cigarette butts. I guess it could be, you can become blasé, let's say. You can, to the act of throwing your cigarette butt on the ground if you have been a smoker for a long time. But if you are watching this and you are a smoker, just perhaps take a second to reconsider that. I know that as soon as you light the cigarette and take a few puffs off of it, it starts to reek. It smells terrible, and that cigarette butt is not something that you would want to keep in your pocket. But, perhaps there's a place nearby that you can dispose of it. Obviously, you're going to want to put the cigarette out completely before you put it in a trash can. That would be best, to avoid setting accidental fires. We want to preserve this park. We don't want to light it on fire. Got a large plastic bag there, going into an even larger plastic bag, as is the objective. Getting small pieces of paper. Oh, that one doesn't want to go in. We'll count that as a fail. Another fail for the old video. But with every failure, right around the corner, of course, is a success as we get that picked up and put back into the bag where it belongs. Some more small pieces of trash. Moving out to the sidewalk here to get that piece of plastic, followed by its smaller friends here. We're getting all of that picked up and put where it needs to go. Now, again, something that I want to accomplish by making these videos is to educate people on the benefits that these sort of areas have, right? And I think that the best way to do that is to simply show them how awesome they can be when they are properly picked up, when they are properly cleaned. I think that parks, regardless of the size or the content that's in them, whether it be basketball courts like these ones, or racquetball courts, or even just benches with trees, I think that they have a humongous positive impact for everyone that has access to them. I know that it certainly gives me a peace of mind when I can go out on a nice sunny day and just relax, get away from everything. Sort of, I like to call it putting my brain in a box, right? And just take my brain out of my head and put it aside for a second. And just don't think. Close your eyes, listen to the breeze, let that sun hit your face. And for me personally, that's a little difficult to do if the area is a mess. I enjoy it a lot more. And so I think it's critical to inspire people to have conversations such as, what can we do to make cities like New York City or cities all across America, if not the world, how can we make them a cleaner location? How can we make them better? And the more people that I'm able to expose, I think, the better. We got a pack of Newport menthols. Perhaps might be responsible for a few of those cigarette butts that we found earlier. We're going to be moving straight through this little, we'll call it a shrub bed, not quite a flower bed, shrub bed. Getting through some trash here. This is on the south side of the park, and it's kind of a thinner strip than the two that were facing the entrance there. And right here,
thank you.
I'll just let you listen.
I appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
It means a lot. God bless you.
Bless you. Thank you.
You gotta have more people out here like you. I do community service as well.
Yeah?
But I think I do it because I'm on probation.
Oh, okay.
So to be a volunteer like you is amazing.
Sure.
And I appreciate you.
I've done community service on probation too. So, man.
Yeah, you got a good heart.
For sure.
Keep on going, you know. Don't let nobody stop you from being happy or doing whatever it is you want to do in life.
Absolutely, I agree.
You look amazing. How old are you?
31.
Wow, you look amazing. I'm 37.
Thank you.
You look amazing. And your organs are still working. Nothing is wrong with you.
So far, so good.
So whatever it is that you want in life, accomplish it. Go for it.
Amen.
Okay?
Thank you. I appreciate you.
So yeah, sort of an interesting conversation, but altogether very positive. The individual just had some kind words that they wanted to give to me, and you know, it was very nice to hear that. Again, in the sense that I don't really get paid to do this. That sort of interaction where, you know, a person wants to spread a message of positivity, a message of gratitude, that is in itself a form of payment that I consider to be very, very important, very dear to me. I think that we could all use more people like her. Nevertheless, we're going to keep moving on here, moving through this small shrub bed, as we've named it, picking up as much trash as we can. We've got plastic upon small pieces of plastic, little candy wrappers, little straw wrappers. That one was a wood chip, or a stick rather. We're just going to let sticks be. That's alright with me. A stick is in the park. Piece of trash. Going through here, pick that out of the fence there. Candy wrapper. Looks like it might be from a Reese's peanut butter cup. Those are tasty. Piece of toilet paper. A big old pile of leaves on the sidewalk too. That could be good picked up. That's for another person on a different day though. Checking underneath the bushes again. Any place that the wind has to blow stuff up against, that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna push it right into those areas. Some more toilet paper, which I'm hoping is clean. But of course it could have been someone's Kleenex. Someone blew their nose into it. And some more toilet paper back here as well. Another small piece of plastic. And we've got some plastic bags here. Now these look like they were from some sort of retail store. I don't think that they were meant to be doggy bags, let's call them. Dog doo-doo bags. But rather a small bag from a retail store again. That was a tinfoil lid to some sort of plastic cup. Some more toilet paper there. These bushes are good hiding spots, I tell you. There is quite a bit of trash in here. Here's a straw. Moving on to paper straws, using paper instead of plastic, which I'm a fan of. I personally don't think that they get very soggy to the point where they're unenjoyable. They definitely, I guess, affect the flavor to a point, but it's small and minute. You could really use any kind of straw for a Coca-Cola, and the Coca-Cola is still going to be very enjoyable. Again, Coca-Cola being my favorite soda at the moment, I don't think that there's a way. You really have to try to mess up a good Coca-Cola, a good cold Coca-Cola. Had a bigger piece of cardboard there. I kind of wonder where that might have blown out from, or how that ended up in this shrub bed. Going back in there, get behind this tree, kind of using my leg to bend that shrub back so I can get in there. Well, it's a bag of sunflower seeds. Someone was done with their snack and their bag got away from them. And grab a piece of trash from behind me and get that big one. I know that you saw that hiding in that bush there. You wanted me to pick that up as much as I wanted me to pick that up, didn't you? I just imagine the audience is cheering for me at this moment to get this trash. We are hopefully in this together. I know that I am enjoying making this sort of content, and my goal is to make it enjoyable for other people to watch as well. We're gonna move back now that we're done picking up that strip there. We're gonna move back into the park itself. So that is the totality of the exterior of the park. So we got all the way around it. The east side and the northern side of the park are fenced off, and you don't really have the ability to access them. As I'm coming back through this area, I'm noticing a couple of cigarette butts that I had missed on the first go around. So it's a good thing that I'm able to come back through a second time and kind of just get another look at it. More cigarette butts, more small pieces of trash. And that's another thing to remember is, like I was saying, when Parks Department comes through here, it could be a situation where they do have time, but because these pieces are so frequent and they're so small, they just don't notice them. They just aren't able to see them while they're coming through. But like I said, we're actually moving into the park itself here. Getting some pieces of trash from, those are just leaves, so we're going to leave them be. Here we have cigarette butts stuck inside the grooves of this brick lay here. A little bit of a failure there, but as always we get that cigarette butt in there. Small piece of paper, and we've got, it looks like a piece of paper stuck to the top of this chess table. I really like those chess tables. I think they're neat. And how classic New York, right? I grew up in the Midwest, and every time someone mentioned a park being in New York City, I always imagined there being a table with a chessboard on it. That's very iconic to me. Very classic New York City to me. We've got more cigarette butts here stuck inside of the grooves of this brick lay. Do what we can to get all of those out of there. Got my plastic bag not quite cooperating with me in the wind, but nevertheless, We're going to power through that, not allow it to get us frustrated, and pick up the rest of these cigarette butts. And again, if I was coming to the park and I wanted to sit down at this bench, I would be a lot more comfortable doing it if there were no cigarette butts on the ground. I think that would be really nice. So, having a keen eye and making sure I'm getting every single one of them. Really going in to the middle of these grooves, into these cracks. The cracks that are in Crack is Wack Playground. And getting each and every one of those cigarette butts out of there. That, I think, was just a piece of gum, which is stuck there. Gum, while it is trash, is not the worst of the enemies, because obviously I believe that one's genuinely not going anywhere. Getting the last bit of trash out of that. Yep, see, there's a trash can right there. Very good. Good place for people to dispose of their litter, dispose of their refuse. Checking this fence line here. Getting that going. Oh, someone had left their coffee and their snack from the morning. Looked like it was one of those apple pies. Which is a little bit too much sugar for my type of breakfast, but, you know, to each their own. Just because I don't enjoy a slice of apple pie in the morning with my coffee doesn't mean it's not a good way to start your day. And I guess it could be for someone else. Picking up small pieces of paper here. A little bit of tissue paper. Checking these tree wells. Getting along this fence line. Oh, and what do we have here? A couple of little vodka shooters, little Amsterdam, I think. Again, I'm not opposed to having a good time, to having a party, but I am 100% for being responsible with the bottle once you are done drinking it. Make sure that I like to make sure that those get to the right places. That's what makes me happy. Moving along down the side of the fence here. It's good to see that the basketball court itself is relatively very clean. There is not too much trash that's on the place where a lot of the playing in the park goes down. A lot of where the activity in the park happens. That's what I like to see. We've got, of course, a blown up against the fence. Like I mentioned, the wind likes to push things to its final destination. It's a larger size trash bag. Not too large that it can't go into my trash bag, though. Checking behind this bench and around this bench. People have a chance to sit down. They're going to be there for a while. That gives them the opportunity to lose track of their trash. Let's put it that way. Okay, so this part, I'm going to pull out my phone and just kind of take a couple photos and videos of the park itself. So this is a good time for me to just let you guys know about my program itself. Again, this is called New Leaves Urban Reform, and we're just starting out kind of making these social media videos. I believe that one of the best things to help me with the development and making these videos is going to be feedback. So if you guys have anything to say, hopefully a lot of it's positive, any sort of feedback, put it down in the comment sections below. You can find New Leaves Urban Reform on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter, or what would be known as X now. You can find us on YouTube. We have a LinkedIn. And we're really trying to branch out to all forms of social media platforms that we can. We have a TikTok as well. And all of these platforms you can find us by looking up New Leaves Urban Reform. It is also right around this time of the video that my GoPro dies. I got the rest of the park cleaned up, and this is where I put my trash. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.